up local volunteers in Southern Africa gather in Durban to learn how to better carry out Tji's work. We take an in-depth look at exactly what is it we are applying to our face each day. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. First up, in Southern Africa, Durban Tji volunteers often cross the border to Swaziland and Mozambique to care for those in need. This time, local volunteers from Mozambique and Swaziland travel to Durban instead to learn from Tji volunteers on how to better carry out the Buddhist NGO's work in their own community.
In South Africa, Durban Tji volunteers, along with Mozambique volunteers, visit a senior resident who previously suffered a stroke. With so many hands helping out, everyone works together to clean up after their grandmother. Some lift her up while others quickly remove her bed sheets for cleaning, working harmoniously together like they have in the past year. In the past, Durban Tji volunteers would travel more than 1,000 kilometers to Swaziland and Mozambique. However, this time both Swaziland and Mozambique volunteers covered that distance to learn from Durban Tji volunteers. Paulo, a Mozambique volunteer, saw they could be doing so much more.
Because even then, in Mozambique, we have many people like that, or more, and some of them they're living far, but we don't have a mountain like here.
The same poverty found in Mozambique can be seen in South Africa as well. Furthermore, communities in Durban are faced with a high frequency of violent crimes. Thus, a peaceful existence is often treasured. Tji's influence can be seen in the way the children from Ntabankilu's orphanage eat a meal. They used to sit on the floor and grab food with their hands, but now these children are sitting in chairs and eating with spoons. Crossing borders to shower others with love, these pearls of Southern Africa are setting out to warm the hearts of those in need.
Moving to Malaysia, at the Tji Batu Pahat's liaison office, Tji volunteers held a distribution of daily necessities for their Muslim care recipients. To encourage residents to attend the event, Tji volunteers even organized transportation to the venue and also arranged a tea ceremony which moved many participants.
Malaysian Tji volunteers recently held an event, especially for their Muslim care recipients. However, some were afraid of being laughed at for attending and declined to attend. So volunteers came to pick them up by car to encourage them to go. At the venue, children served tea to the elderly, which brought out many different emotions in those being served.
These tears are not because I'm upset, but because I'm happy. Children serving us tea make us feel respected.
Some remember their own parents and wish that they had an opportunity to serve them tea while they were still alive.
If my mother was still alive, she would feel the same way as me. If I could have served her tea, she probably would cry just like me. But my mother passed away a year ago, and my father passed away 4 months ago.
Next, a care recipient sang a song in Chinese, with her father accompanying her on guitar. Not fluent in Chinese, the young girl had practiced the song for a long time as a way to show her gratitude for the love and care she's received from Tji. At the end of the event, volunteers presented each care recipient with enough aid supplies and well wishes to last them until the next gathering.
Also in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Tji volunteers helped arrange a field trip to a chocolate and cookie factory for refugee children from Myanmar. This rare day out not only helped broaden the youngsters' horizons, but also gave them a taste of Tji's sweet love and care.
Chocolates are a treat for most people, these Myanmar refugee children included. Knowing they are visiting a chocolate factory, these children are excited beyond words.
Today is about bringing the students out to do some hands-on learning. This is a required course in our education program for refugees. We want to give the children an opportunity to see how the chocolate they like to eat is made, as this is not something books or the instructors will teach.
Since 2008, Tzu Chi Selangor and Kuala Lumpur chapter has teamed up with the Malaysia's United Nations High Commissioners for Refugees Committee 5 times to host field trips for young refugees. During this most recent field trip, many children got a chance to taste their first piece of chocolate.
This morning our facility is empty as we cancelled other tour groups to especially host these children.
The Malaysian government does not officially recognize these refugee children, thus the needs of such children are often neglected. However, with the chocolate factory's thoughtful gesture, along with Tzu Chi volunteers' love and care, today these young ones are feeling very spoiled.
So I think this is very great for Tzu Chi to organize this thing for us, and it's also the children are benefiting from that. So we thank Tzu Chi for that.
Taking a bite of chocolate, these children not only taste its sweetness, but also the love that made it possible for them to be here today.
The Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter has held ceremonies to celebrate the Buddha's birthday for decades in the nation. In 2011, the Tzu Chi hosted event was officially recognized by the Penang state government. And in the same year, Tzu Chi's vegetarian campaign successfully inspired 40,000 residents across Malaysia to go meatless on the day of the Buddha's birthday. Through such events, Tzu Chi is finding its way into the hearts and lives of Malaysia's citizens and showing that different faiths can coexist in harmony and respect.
I feel that my heart has been cleansed. When I heard the Buddha's name, I felt joyous.
We feel very peaceful this morning after having been here.
Hearing the Buddha's name left me very moved.
Every year on the second Sunday of May, the Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter will hold a Buddha Day celebration. Although at first the celebrations were small, they slowly grew in size and scope until in 2011 they were officially recognized by the state of Penang, Malaysia.
The scene here is simply majestic. Everywhere I look, I see kindness and peace. This kind of event as a government we will be glad to support.
The ceremony also highlights how the various religious groups live in harmony here in Malaysia, as the venue of the 2011 event was located near an Islamic mosque. Volunteers waited until the mosque had finished its evening worship before starting.
那更难得的，那就是呢，这种的宗教互相的尊重啊比如说，在那里呢都是伊斯兰教的国家。因为这个运动场是临近于清真寺，那清真寺呢，在每天的傍晚7点26分，他们呢要礼拜，所以慈济人呢保持了静音。
Berhati dengan apa yang telah pihak.
I'm happy to see the respect showed to our evening prayer by the volunteers.
Also in 2011, volunteers promoted the practice of vegetarianism on the day of the ceremony. The goal was to get participants to cleanse not only their minds, but their bodies as well.
他的宣导也有呢4万多人同一天呢素食，而且呢有100多家的素食餐厅免费提供这样的4万多人的素食餐点。这更不简单那虽然是1日啦，这1日之间呢4万多人归人受洗的，真的也很令人震撼。
In the Islamic country of Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers' conduct and ideals have won them the recognition and applause of both the government and citizens of Malaysia. Now more than ever, Tzu Chi can call this Islamic country their home.
Taiwan's annual annual cosmetic manufacturing output is approximately $3.1 billion, with domestic manufacturing alone accounting for $500 million. However, despite the volume of products manufactured and sold, a lack of information on the composition of these products makes it difficult for consumers to judge a product's quality. Today, we visit a GMP-certified cosmetic manufacturer and see exactly what goes into a product's research and development before it is produced.
Add 1 gram of hyaluronic acid to 99 milliliters of water and you get 1% concentrate of hyaluronic acid solution. This is no different than the high concentrate hydrating hyaluronic acid serum you find on the market. However, you don't have to spend a fortune and add more hyaluronic acid to get this viscosity. Adding macromolecule substances gives you the same result. Hence, it's a misconception to think that its viscosity is directly the result of the amount of hyaluronic acid added, and looking at these cosmetic ingredients, none of it seems to make sense to consumers. Yet, current regulations only require that medicated cosmetics undergo inspection. For the rest of the consumers, who is looking out for their interests? It seems that it really boils down to the industry manufacturer's professionalism and business ethic. In this lab, a team of 6 research and development personnel conduct endless tests. From a product's initial research, it could take up to a year before it hits the market.
There will never be a case where a formula we develop will be the final product. It goes through many trials and errors. Both we and the consumers will test out the sample product, and we will make the necessary improvements based on feedback.
This is one of the 31 Good Manufacturing Practice certified cosmetic manufacturers in Taiwan. From raw materials to the final end product, a series of inspections is carried out on each stage of the manufacturing process.
If it contains bacteria, it will develop colonies. So we use colony-forming units to estimate the viable bacterial or fungal numbers. And only if it meets the standard requirements will we use it.
Taiwan's domestic cosmetic products lack rigorous long-term management mechanisms. However, the GMP certification hopes to change that. Its guidelines serve to ensure a product's quality, as well as that the manufacturing process, operating personnel, machinery and operating procedures are all in compliance.
When we implemented the good manufacturing practice, it raised the quality of production and subsequently, we received fewer customer complaints.
In terms of international standards, whether it is software or hardware, more stringent requirements are placed on the quality of cosmetic manufacturers. Thus, if we want to be more competitive internationally, we have to maintain this standard.
Currently, GMP is a voluntary certification, and of the some 450 cosmetic companies in Taiwan, those who are GMP certified are few in number.
Once the regulations have been amended, GMP certification would be a prerequisite. Secondly, a new mechanism will be in place where before products are distributed on the market, its chemical ingredients and risk of evaluation will be submitted to central health authorities.
As the regulation hasn't been revised yet, manufacturers shouldn't count their chickens before they hatch, as a product's effectiveness is not only based on emotional appeal, but supported by scientific evidence. 5 hydrating products were selected and tested for their moisture retention.
The 2 products which stood out are numbers 4 and 5.
Number 4 and number 5 are all open-shelf cosmetic products which outperformed other more expensive brands. Therefore, it would be correct to say that a cosmetic product's effectiveness is not based on price.
A product's effectiveness can be proven through tests. If manufacturers are willing to invest more time and energy into research, there will be plenty more effective or safer products on the shelves. This is something consumers should voice to the cosmetic companies.
As consumers, only if we start making smart choices will we have the power to not only make more choices available for ourselves, but to safeguard our own health as well.
Staying in Taiwan, city volunteers in Taipei's Xinyi district, who were previously informed of the plight of a mentally challenged woman, arrived at her house, ready to transform her home and life for the better. Let's take a look. Walking into the home of this care recipient, even in the dim light, it is obvious to see the abysmal conditions she lives in. From the volumes of garbage, moldy furniture and decrepit walls, it is obvious there is a lot of cleaning up to do. Although Xinyi district in Taipei has in recent years become a high-end shopping area, there are still a few residents in the area who live in poverty. Today, volunteers are here to care for one.
The refrigerator was broken. Opening it up, inside it was filled with roaches. Her bed was also filled with rubbish. There was almost no place for her to lie down, so she is forced to find a small corner in which to sleep.
Volunteers one by one remove the garbage and unusable items.
We will first clean out the old furniture and then in the afternoon bring in new furniture. We will also spray some natural cleaning agent in the house.
We have been working to get her transferred to a care facility, but it looks like it will be a long process, so we felt that we should help her clean up her house in the meantime.
Still on summer vacation is junior high school student Zhang Hongling, who was brought here today by his father to better appreciate his own blessings.
It is a lot messier and older than my home. I have never seen such an environment or such an old home.
Without seeing it for himself, even if we tell him, he would have no way of really knowing. Bringing him here, he can understand that he is actually very lucky to have a clean house and a mother and father that look after him.
Tzu Chi's help over the past 2 months has meant this care recipient no longer has to go through life alone, and this light of love will continue to bring hope to dark corners everywhere. You might think that head lice has long disappeared from Taiwan. In fact, many tribes in remote areas around the island are still troubled by this issue. To reduce the spreading of head lice, Tzu Chi Foundation and medical staff at the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital has worked to advocate head lice prevention in local communities. Besides helping local residents clean up their environment, medical staff also worked with pharmaceuticals to come up with better and quicker treatment for head lice. Here's more.
In this mountainous region of Hualien County, older children go around with short hair as there has been an outbreak of head lice going around.
When you feel that your hair is itchy, you can go to school and ask for a head lice hairbrush. This hairbrush can detect head lice, so you can know if you have head lice or not.
Head lice are insects that spend their entire life on the human scalp and feed on exclusively on human blood. Nowadays, it is hard to believe that head lice still exist. But even in the United States, at least 12 million people suffer from this problem every year.
School is the primary place we go to cure hair lice. In fact, schools along the east coast of Taiwan have been focusing on solving the problem of head lice. Unfortunately, they haven't been successful.
To solve this problem, Tzu Chi volunteers and medical staff seize the summer holidays to help local residents clean up their immediate surroundings.
We have been brainstorming on the things that can lead to the spread of head lice, and we realized that community sanitation should be the first thing we should focus on.
60-year-old Ms. Song has been living in a dark and unventilated environment for years and constantly suffers from head lice. To get rid of the lice, she even shaved her hair, but it did not solve the problem.
I think the first thing to do is to improve local residents' living environment. We won't be able to solve this problem if we only help students cure their head lice. The first thing to do is to encourage local residents to improve their personal hygiene. This is a concept that should be advocated not only in schools, but also in communities.
In 2011, Tzu Chi Foundation started promoting head lice prevention in local schools. The volunteers even thoughtfully set up water heaters in schools so children could wash their hair with warm water during the winter. Unfortunately, this year, medical staff discovered that head lice have become resistant to some treatments.
Although the medicine works, currently we still can't prevent head lice from reoccurring. I told Ciji bloggers that head lice have become resistant to treatments. Others suggest that we should change the medicine often so head lice do not build up resistance.
Other than brainstorming newer ideas with pharmaceuticals, Ciji volunteers have also encouraged local residents to join their ranks in advocating head lice prevention in their own communities.
We'll come back next week and conduct the second phase of the treatment. We have a 90% chance that we will reduce head lice prevalence before the new semester begins.
You are infected when adult head lice are seen in the hair. Some people think that when they find lice eggs, they have to immediately apply medication. That is wrong.
With the efforts of medical staff and Ciji volunteers, local residents have become more aware of the problem. To reduce the spreading of head lice, residents have started to dry their bed sheets and pillows under the sun.
We like to see these children living in a clean environment. We're very happy when they're clean.
We are giving you clean second-hand clothes and bed sheets. Please don't use the old one anymore. If you don't need these things, please remember to throw them away, okay?
Thanks to the help of Ciji volunteers and medical staff, local residents' living surroundings are clean and tidy once again, and the long-term problem of head lice is finally seeing some improvement.
In Myanmar, 51-year-old Ciji volunteer King No Machit suddenly passed away from a heart attack, leaving behind her only child. Having joined Ciji following its work in the wake of Cyclone Nagas, though having to care for her child with developmental problems, the volunteer had always wholeheartedly devoted herself to carrying out Ciji's work. Volunteers and family members all agree that King No Machit's love and selfless spirit will live on in the hearts of many. Hearing that King No Machit passed away from a heart attack, Ciji volunteers called on her home and grieving family. Her sudden death left her family and many of her Ciji brothers and sisters in shock, unable to believe that this quietly devoted volunteer and mother was gone.
She was the one that introduced me to Ciji. At first, I didn't want to buy a uniform, so she gave me hers.
King No Machit joined Ciji following its efforts in the country in the wake of Cyclone Nagas. Although she was a single mother caring for her son with mental disabilities, she never let it stop her from volunteering wherever needed, a commitment that changed her for the better.
After joining Ciji, she changed a lot. She became much more polite and more willing to help others. She would also share her experiences with us.
A woman of few words but abundant action, King No Machit's spirit lives on in the hearts and minds of month to pray for peace and prosperity. Ciji volunteers held a blessing ceremony in hopes of promoting the right way to celebrate the occasion and also ways to safeguard our planet. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.